What's up, guys? This is Boy of This Gaming, your channel for fresh Arena Valor content, and I'm back. I've been on holidays for about a week. You guys didn't notice because I have been pre-producing a lot of videos so that there would not be any gap in my production schedule, but I have been gone for about a week with no Wi-Fi or a really bad Wi-Fi connection, so I wasn't able to play any sort of mobile game like Arena of Valor because it was just so bad that I could not been asked to play any of the games. In fact, the connection was so bad that I couldn't even start the game, and therefore I went back to my place today. And I was really eager to play Arena of Valor again because that pause was actually quite helpful. I've been playing a lot of games before I went to holidays, and I don't know how you feel about playing a lot if you need to. It's getting to the point where you don't really want to play anymore, but this 7-day pause kind of made Arena of Valor enjoyable again, and you guys are going to see the first match that I've played after I came back from my vacation, and we are going to focus on Astrid today in a video that I highly liked because the game was actually quite fun. So first of all, I want to go into the gear, into the equipment, and you guys are going to see my jungle damage burst, whatever. It's not really a jungle build. As you can see, the equipment is focused on mainly damage. We've got some utility items here with Medallion of Troy, for example, but the main focus on Astrid is damage because she has some shenanigans where she can avoid damage, especially when she's going into the ult state. Enchantment wise, we are going with full damage with the Shadow Blade, Deadly Claw, and Desperate Duel. We are playing her as a warrior on the solo lane, therefore Desperate Duel is your bread and butter enchantment that you want to pick because you want to deal more damage to a single target. The second enchantment line is Enhanced Restore and Gunslinger in the League of Humans. And Arcana wise, if you are interested in that, is a combination of 10 times Indomitable, 10 times Benevolence, and 10 times Skewer. So this is more sorts of my tank build that I used to play on my AD tanks, but it's really going quite well with Astrid when she is going to be the warrior on the solo lane, and I picked the execution as a talent in this build. So this is the build that I've come up with, and you guys know before the gameplay there's always the shout out. Like the video, comment the video, put the subscription on the video because it helps me to grow the channel. While I was away, it went really well, so I hope you guys are going to continue to share and like and comment the stuff that I'm putting on YouTube. And last but not least, thanks for watching, have a nice evening, enjoy the video, and let's hop right into the game. And here we go, and the team setup is actually quite interesting as we completely ignored what the game is asking you to do. So we've got 3 mages, no AD carry, and that's that. And I was kind of, is this the game that I'm going to play after I have just been pausing the game for a couple of days? Is this really what I want to start with? And I was actually a little bit worried that everything will not pay out as I wanted it to do. That said, I think 2 of either players are set up in a duo queue. But as you can see, we've got Murad in the jungle. We've got Kali and Darcy at Kali and Yue at the bottom lane, the duo lane, and we've got Ignis in some sort of mid lane, whatever, and it was actually quite confusing. It was confusing. I was like, how can we win a game like this? Because everyone is squishy besides me, and I'm not building tank. I was asking myself if that might be the way to do. but in fact I didn't go for the full tank build. Stealing one minion here was actually quite nice, but then I was caught up by a lot of spells and I have been killed for the first time on my team, and that wasn't really the brightest start that I could think about. In fact, I was a little bit demotivated at that point. I was like, okay, well, team composition is shit, and now I've been killed because I was just overextending way too much, and I couldn't see ourselves winning that game because the team composition of the enemies was actually quite fine. So talking about that, we've got Bright as a jungler, so quite decent, not one of the best ones, but not one of the worst ones. We've got Superman, who's super mobile, of course, because he's Superman, so he's super mobile, obviously. We've got Darcy, who is a powerhouse. He's not really one of the best mages, but if he can make his kit work with all the CC that he got, he can be actually quite powerful and put a lot of pressure on a lane with great crowd control and great clearing. And then we've got Valheim as an ADC. I mean, he's not one of the best ADCs ever in the world, but he's still pretty decent. So obviously he's not one of the worst. And then the enemies also have Aram as a true tank, so they've got a really good support. And I was really curious how this was going to turn out in the end, because I could not see our game to be in our favor, as I would just suggest that the enemy has the better team composition. Now, this kill was actually quite disturbing. I would not think that this guy would turn out in a death for me or a kill for me. So I was thinking, like, is this a bot game? But no, these guys were real people. You can tell from the skins that they've been taken at the beginning of the game, but also how they played, how the communication went. Everything was actually normal. So with a 5-2, I was curious how this would turn out in the end, because I think overall, obviously, the enemy team has the more well-rounded composition. They've got a tank, they've got a warrior hero at the top lane with great engagement, really good initiator, great crowd control. They've got Bright, who is able to turn a fight into his favor as soon as he ults. As you can see right now, so I'm fighting him in his ultimate state. But I think he just turned into the ultimate a little bit too early, and I think that was his mistake. He should have waited a little bit longer and use all of his abilities before he turns into the ultimate state, because in this case I was just farming him quite nicely. And now we've got Superman here. I do get the jungle camp here without a problem. So I think that wasn't really well timed from Superman. But all in all, I would say the enemy team has just the better team composition, because it's kind of working. If Bright goes into your team line, if Superman is able to dodge just some of the shots and go into our comfort zone, he's been able to dish out a lot of damage. Of course, I was a little bit mispositioned right now because I was staying a little bit way too far from any helping resources, but all in all it worked out quite fine, because Ignis and Murad really had the upper heel in this battle. Yeah, here we go. So another kill for my team, and with 8-4 we have just set ourselves in a really good position. So I was actually quite surprised that the whole game went quite nicely. I was basically thinking that this would not turn out in any kind of favor. We don't really have a support, so support items are not seen in any kind of way, and a support item with cleanse would actually be quite beneficial against Aram. It would just ruin her day, and with all my forces I was able to drag or to push Valheim away from the spot, and now we need to focus on the tower, and so far everything went quite smoothly. So I was really surprised, and this is the reason why I am showing you this game to you guys, because it was just so much fun to play. I was like, well, I didn't expect anything, but it turned out into I didn't expect anything, but it turned out into everything, and that was the beauty of the game. Like, it just shows that if you have some sort of team communication and your team works out quite nice with all the resources that you have, which is 4 other players, you can win games, and that's the beauty of the game. And I think that's something that the new meta has just shown. Not the new meta in terms of the new meta since the new patch, but the meta that has just been broken by players trying out new things, trying out new styles, trying out new compositions, and it really makes the game a lot more enjoyable, because it's some kind of League of Legends moment that I had with this game. In League of Legends, there was this kind of super strict composition. You have to have a marksman or AD carry. You have to have an assassin in the jungle. You have to have some sort of support. You have to have a mid laner, basically focused on CC or great damage, and you have to have some kind of top lane support CC warrior type. And all of a sudden, League of Legends was broken because players were starting to play whatever they liked in some sort of team composition that no one has ever seen before. And you had assassins being played as supports. For example, now we've got Richter as a really good support assassin warrior who's able to turn the tides of the battle because he's got great CC and great true damage. You've got some mages like Isha being able to support their ADCs with CC and some additional damage coming from their pet. So what happened to Arena of Valor is that the whole game evolved into some kind of new state where people were actually trying out new things beside kind of the standard procedure with those restrictive positions with the AD carries, and you have to have a support roaming champion as a support, otherwise the game is broken and not working, you're complaining all the time, flaming people all over the place. And I think this just has shown a new side to Arena of Valor, that you can actually play the game with unlikely things, but those unlikely things are actually going to make the game a little bit more versatile. And I think this is something that's really helping the player base, because now you can play things outside the box which do make sense in a certain team composition, and no one is complaining about that because it's just going to help your kind of play style and your kind of team composition. And that's what happened in this game. I think it wasn't really trolling, but we played around the enemy team quite nicely with a lot of mages, great damage coming from Kali and Yue, and Ignis, obviously, because he's going to be MVP at the end of the game. And everything worked out quite fine. And I really appreciated the fact, and I really like the fact, after I have been pausing the game for several days, and it made the game enjoyable again. And that was something that I can see in a lot of my comments where people are complaining about the game. New players all along. It's difficult to find a team composition. It's difficult to play whatever I want. But this really shows that you can play whatever you want as long as you stick to a certain game plan and as long as you support your team. And I think that is the most important thing. You can play whatever you want if you are going to support your team. You don't have to be the best player, but if you see that one of your teammates is fighting another player, help them. Get some support to those lines or those lanes where people are missing, and everything is going to become a little bit better. And I think that's actually quite helpful because it helps us to understand the game a little bit better. And this is going to be so close. Yes, not even a health bar at all, but I made it out alive because I was just a little bit faster than the enemies were assuming. And with 21 versus 13 and me being the gold lead right now, I had everything in my hand. And I think Astrid is a really fun character. I was a little bit worried at the beginning of the game because obviously if you're playing against Superman with a character like Astrid who is not super mobile, but at least she is a little bit more mobile than some of her warrior components or some warrior friends. Actually, what's going to happen is that Superman is going to outflank you a lot. He's using his mobility to his strength, and that's what Superman is all about. So I was a little bit afraid that Superman is going to dictate some of his playstyle into my playstyle, and I would just be the one to react. But all in all, it worked out quite fine. Now my team is closing in on the top lane tower. And as I see that the whole enemy team is down, my mission was to go into the mid lane, get the tower for my team, roam up to the top lane tower after that, and then if both towers are set, get right next to the core and deal sufficient damage to get the core and finish the game for my team. And it worked out quite nicely. So everyone was back and we won the game with ease. So Astrid is a really fun character to play. She's of course not one of the strongest warriors right now in the game, but her movement, her shielding, her ult, which makes her invincible for a short duration of time, is for my playstyle something that I really enjoy. And as you can see, second best damage. I tanked most of the damage, and with 11.5 I'm fine. So that was the game after my holidays. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a great evening. Stay tuned for more content to come, and bye bye.